The story begins in a world where humans and demons have been at war for centuries. In this world, people and demons coexist, all creatures constantly kill each other for free territory. Shenyi, who lived in a remote village, thought that he could live peacefully with his childhood sweetheart, but an accident interrupted his peaceful life. To survive, Shenyi ate every demon alive. Now he walks over the corpses of millions of monsters and enters the path of the strongest demon god. Terrible monsters lurk on the dark side of this world. There are continuous wars between people and monsters. This has been going on for many years. People have learned martial arts and now they worship martial arts. At this time, in a cave with dim lighting, a guy sits next to the body of a killed monster. He eats this monster, biting off pieces of its flesh. The guy tries to swallow it, but it causes him to vomit. He thinks that he must survive and he cannot die. Angela must wait for him. 3 days ago, this guy fell into this deep well and fell to the ground. He lay on the floor and groaned in pain. He tried to get up, but his leg hurt very much from the fall. He grabbed his leg and screamed in pain. He continues to crawl and thinks his leg is broken. He rolls over on his back and says it looks like he won't be able to get out of this place. The guy wonders how long has he been lying here, 2 or 10 hours. This well is too deep. He has already tried to get up so many times, but it is all useless. Why is this well so deep? Do the village chief and others know about this? In any case, dying here is better than being bullied by Xiao Wang and the others. At the same time, on a dark night, near a huge tree, several guys are standing in the middle of the forest. One of the guys asks, "Isn't this village a restricted area? People say there are monsters here. Will they continue to wait for Shenyi to come out?" The other guy says he dares to ignore him. He should rip his head off and kick it like a ball. He doesn't believe that he can hide there and not come out. The other guy tells Xiao Wang that they waited the whole night. Later the elder guarding the forbidden place will return. If he finds them here, Xiao Wang asks why he is so afraid. This old man is enjoying life in bed with his wife. He won't be back tonight. He doesn't believe that this coward Shenyi dared to enter this forbidden area. Why don't they dare to enter? They must go there. He breaks the stone and laughingly says that ordinary rumors cannot scare him. The guy says that there is a monster inside that eats people. Suddenly a crow appears and they all notice it. Many crows appear above them and fly over them. They all scream in fear and say that these are monsters and they should run away. Xiao Wang runs with them and wonders what is going on here. Just now he had this frightening feeling as if something had come out of there. At the same time, the girl asks if Xiao Wang and the others have taken Shenyi away again. At the same time in the well, Shenyi says that he is very hungry. He touches his hand to some tentacle. He was surprised and wondered what this thing was. It is soft. Is it really a living creature? Are there other things in this well? He turns around and notices a huge monster lying next to him. The body of this monster was chained. Shenyi screams loudly in fear that it is a monster. He wonders if he will really die here. He calms down and thinks that he should not be afraid because he is safe. But what is this thing? Why is it caught here? Someone must have finished it off, locked it here, and even chained it up. But who did it? Shenyi took the stone that was under his feet and threw it at the monster's body, but the monster did not move. He wonders if it is really dead. 10 days later, Shenyi thinks that during this time he has not heard any sounds from this monster. It must be dead. But, once trapped, he, too, will soon not be able to survive without food and water, and he will also not be able to get out. He apologizes to Angela for not being able to return. At the same time, she asks where Shenyi ran away to again. As a child, he was beaten and told that he was trash that no one wanted. Angela treated his wounds and asked if he was okay. He should be more careful and not get hurt more. He grew up with her. All his thoughts are only about her. Angela said that he should not run away anymore. She can't protect him all the time. They will live together forever. Shenyi's memories collapse and he falls into the void and says that he cannot die here. He takes a stone and begins to beat the monster's skin. He says that if he can't get out, Xiao Wang and the others will bully Angela. He can't let these freaks go. No matter how disgusting it was, he had to eat it. He had to survive. He shouldn't die here because of Xiao Wang and the others. Some time later, Shenyi says that after getting used to the taste, the texture was not bad. He starts coughing up blood. He screams in pain and is surrounded by dark energy. Outgrowths appear from his body that look like the skin of a monster. Shenyi screams in pain all the time as the monster shell on his body grows. Dark energy reaches his head. His hand completely transformed and took on the appearance of a monster. His appearance completely changed and he began to look more like a monster than a man. He raises his head and looks at the light that enters the well. His arm lengthens and he grabs the edge of the well and easily jumps out. Shenyi lands on the ground. His monster form disappears and he says that he got out. He wonders if he is dreaming about this. And what is this power? Has he become different? So incredible, has he really turned into a monster? Could it be that he got his powers from eating that monster? He really becomes a monster. He doesn't know why, but he has to be careful. He can't let anyone find out about it. The man who is following him thinks that he is a monster. He urgently needs to inform the village head and other members of the village committee about this. Shenyi's clothes stretch out and eat a butterfly that flew by. He asks what did he sit down again. This is very disgusting. A pair of wings emerge from his back, very similar to the wings of the butterfly he just ate. Shenyi takes off without much control over this process and asks what is this. He is very afraid of heights. He flies into a tree and says he needs to stop quickly. The sound of him crashing was heard very far away and it scared the birds. He lies on the floor and groans in pain. In a world where humans, demons and all other creatures fight for space to survive, the war has never stopped. Until the day a powerful force appeared among people. The demons began to be killed. Finally, they drove the demons out of the range of human forces, and they sealed away the strong spirit of the demon. According to rumors, the Cell organization around the world has sealed 18 demon spirit regions, and their members are powerful and mysterious. Traveling all over the world, it seems they have been almost everywhere, thus people have enjoyed hundreds of years of peace. But the monsters did not disappear. Taoyuan village. Angela thinks about Shenyi. She says he is missing. The council is going to find him, right? The old man says that 10 days have already passed, there is no point in looking for him anymore. She says that besides them, he really has no one else to rely on. The old man says that he knows that she was close to him, but it's time to accept reality. Angela leaves the building and closes the door behind her. She leaves, but turns around and notices Shenyi calling her. She was delighted and runs to him. She hugs him and says that she is very glad that he is alive. Shenyi holds a rabbit in one hand. With his free hand, he pats her head and tells her that he's okay. He thinks that Angela always blamed him for giving her the corpses of small animals and called him a flayer. Now he had the opportunity to bring her live wild animals. He says he brought her a gift. Angela notices something and says that he should be careful. Shenyi turns to look. He falls into the net and realizes that it is a trap. The guys look at this and laugh and say that he got caught. Xiao Wang asks, now he won't run away like last time. He seemed to have matured since he did not dare to leave the forest when they were waiting for him, but decided to come to the girl. Today he wants him to kneel in front of him and beg for mercy. Angela asks what are they doing? They should let him go. Xiao Wang asks what's good about this freak. Why does she always care about him so much? Why shouldn't she stay with them? He guarantees that she will like it. Angela resists and asks not to touch her. Daoi became angry and began to turn into a demon. He transformed, and tearing it apart, he said that they should leave her. He thinks that he didn't want to expose himself, but they forced him. Everyone was surprised and looked at him in horror. The guy runs away and shouts that he is a monster and they should run away from here. Shenyi very quickly approached Xiao Wang and grabbed him by the throat. He knocked him to the ground and was about to kill him using his hand, which was like a blade. Xiao Wang starts crying and begging him not to kill him. He begs for mercy. Shenyi asks, does he now understand what fear is? Is he asking for mercy? Their years of bullying him will never be erased with just a few words. Angela says he doesn't need to do this. Shenyi stands up and turns to her. He releases Xiao Wang and returns to his human form. Xiao Wang quickly gets to his feet and runs away, very scared. Shenyi turns to Angela and wants to approach her, but something surprises him. He notices that she is afraid of him and moves back. He leaves her and thinks that it is he, Shenyi. He's not a monster, then why? Suddenly a lot of people with weapons appear and someone says that everyone should come here because he is here. Angela says loudly that they should let her go. Several guys grab her and she asks what they are doing. They should let her go. The old man tells Shenyi not to dare attack them. He doesn't even know what he went through. However, people who become monsters do not have the right to life. He must go with them, but he must not bear his claws. The other people with guns say they have to kill him. He could kill them all and they couldn't let him escape. Shenyi squeezes his hand very tightly and asks should he go with them. All these days he lay wounded in the well, without a chance of salvation, along with a tied-up monster. The old man says he is right. It looks like he entered forbidden territory and encountered a demon devourer, and now he has turned into a demon. Only by being imprisoned in the village will he not destroy his personality. This is also the mission of their village. As one of the Cage organization's Forbidden Seal locations, he couldn't just sit back and watch the monster infiltrate this world. Shenyi turns into a demon and says that for many years, when he was an orphan, he was bullied by Xiao Wang and others, but no adult ever helped him. He doesn't know why he became a monster. He didn't do anything wrong, but the whole village surrounded him. What kind of personality does he have? The old man says that in this case, the guards should seize him. Shenyi has finally become a demon. They must prepare the sealing sword. At the same time, the guy turns around and notices many monsters that surrounded them. They shout that they need to run away from here. Many different monsters surround the villagers. They look at them and shout that the monsters have gone wild. Regular monsters only group when the original demon is active. Such big changes could only be caused by the 8th demon devourer, but now Shenyi himself became this demon. He truly became the original demon. The old man is trying to hold back the monster that attacked him. Shenyi very quickly kills this monster and saves the old man, which greatly shocks him. He keeps killing monsters and thinks that he is not a monster, he is Shenyi. Angela must believe him, no matter what the path, no matter the pain or suffering, none of it matters. She must wait for him, and he will appear to her as a man again. Angela comes to the village and sees many villagers killed. She wonders what happened here. Where did all these monsters come from? She walks through the destroyed village and looks around. She hears sounds approaching her and turns around. She sees a monster next to her who was about to kill her. Shenyi kills this monster with one blow. He hugs Angela so she doesn't fall and says that she doesn't have to be afraid. He will never let monsters hurt her. The old man thinks that he not only saved him, but also protected Angela. Did he really retain human emotions and intelligence? This is impossible. Isn't he a demon devourer? The man hits him and tells the old man that now is not the best time to be brooding. This old man must have already forgotten about their plan. The old man says that he is not out of his mind like him. The man says that's good. He must lead the villagers away as planned, and he will cover them. The old man says that the first group will help him take the residents away. The man says that the second group should follow him. They need to hold out and protect the others. Shenyi says he will get her out of here. Angela asks, but what will happen to the others? He turns around to look at what is happening. Several people are surrounded by monsters and say that there are more and more monsters. They must hold out until all residents are safe. This monster is too strong. The headman must help them. The guy notices that a monster tentacle is approaching him, but it was too late and he was killed. The headman says that everyone must detain these monsters. Several tentacles approach him from behind. The headman turns around and very quickly cuts these tentacles. Suddenly, another tentacle appears, which he missed and it wounded him. The villagers say that if they don't save the village chief, they will all die, but there are too many monsters. Looks like they're finished. Shenyi moves towards them very quickly. He very quickly jumps over the guards, who are standing in a stupor, and deals a very strong blow to the huge monster. Shenyi moves towards the monster very quickly and strikes multiple times all over the monster's body. Residents look at the huge column of dust that rose from this battle. Shenyi killed this monster and the monster's blood fell like rain. Residents approach the elder and call him. Angela looks at this and worries about Shenyi. The guards say that he saved the headman. But why is he helping them at all? The headman says that he is not a monster. Regardless of whether he is a monster or not, he still saved the villagers. Shenyi says he is wrong. He did this only for Angela. The old man says that they must continue to move forward. Why did they freeze? Shenyi tells Angela that they should go. They will go far away from here. She approaches him and agrees. Residents are running away and someone says that they should not panic. They need to go in an orderly manner. Someone shouts loudly that they need to hurry because the monsters are coming. The boy trips over a stone and begins to cry. Angela recognizes him and calls him Tudu. She lifts him up and says that he has nothing to fear as his elder sister is with him. The boy cries and calls her sister. Someone calls Angela and she turns around. At the same moment, a monster appears and strikes. Shenyi calls her loudly and watches her fall to the ground. He runs towards her and is very angry. Angela falls on her back and her eyes dim, and there was a large cut on her body from the monster's attack. Shenyi very quickly kills this monster and runs to Angela. He takes her in his arms and says that he will take her to the doctor. She looks at him and says he doesn't need to do this. She looks at him and sees that he is afraid. Shenyi says she shouldn't talk, she needs to save her strength. Angela apologizes to him for doubting him. From now on, she won't be able to be with him all the time. Her arms weaken, she closes her eyes and dies. Shenyi lays her down and shouts her name loudly. He begins to scream loudly and is overcome by very strong energy. The guard asks if he is really out of his mind. Didn't he just help them? Another guard tells this idiot that he should look at him. He is now scarier than any monster. Shenyi turns around very quickly and looks at them. The guard stutters and says that he is looking at them. Shenyi quickly runs towards this guard and grabs him by the throat, causing the guy to choke. The headman calls him by name. He says Angela wouldn't want him to do this. Shenyi looks at him and remains silent. These words still had an effect and he released this guard. The headman says that they want to seal him in a forbidden area due to the natural laws of humans and monsters. He himself saw that the monster in him almost killed a man. He doesn't want it to come to that either. Shenyi lifts Angela's body. He takes human form and apologizes for not being able to save her. He says they don't have to worry, he's not going to take revenge or harm them, he'll leave on his own. The headman says that's not what he meant. Now he is in great danger. Perhaps he can provide him with one last aid. All monsters come from a progenitor. He is incredibly strong and he created the most powerful demons. And the demons summoned the rest of the monsters. After these demons appeared, demon slayer squads appeared. Thanks to everyone's efforts, they killed and sealed the demons. Among the 18 demons sealed by the Cage organization, The eighth demon, the Devourer, has the ability to absorb. Once upon a time he was a real disaster. The Devourer was impossible to kill, so he was sealed inside the well, just like the other 17 demons. Hundreds of years later, in a place where chaos and destruction reigned, a village of several hundred people gradually formed. This is the current Taoyuan village. The headman says that he can risk his life and seal it here, and thereby fulfill the village's mission. But he saw him growing up. He didn't do anything wrong, so he won't kill him, but order the whole village to keep his secret. But outside, there are many villages and organizations just like Taoyuan village. Some of them are much more serious and powerful. He must realize that he will have to live like a wild animal, stay alone, and in no case approach people. Shenyi thanks him and says that he still has no intention of becoming a beast. In the end, he promised Angela. The headman clenches his fist tightly and says that he must wait. There is one way to turn him back into a human. Sometime later, Shenyi sits next to the grave and tells Angela that when he was little, Xiao Wang and the others did not accept him. Then she told him that since he is considered an outsider, then he should not give up, he should surpass people and always stand upright. Now he is no different from a monster. He follows her words and is looking for an opportunity to become human again. The headman told him that the ancient records kept by the headman of Taoyuan village said that only demons knew about the ways of turning people into monsters. The specific contents have been lost over time, but other organizations may still have records. The Kara organization is one of the most powerful organizations in the fight against monsters. He can find them if he goes directly southeast of the village, and yet he must try to blend in with them without revealing his appearance, otherwise he will be killed. At that time, a strangely shaped demon runs through the forest. A man appears behind this demon and is about to attack him with 2 swords. The monster turns around and notices this guy. The man beats this demon and says that they cannot let him escape. The demon rises and watches these people. Some say the deputy commander slowed him down. This is their chance. The demon makes a very loud sound and people cover their ears with their hands. Someone says the monster is leaving. The demon creates a funnel into which he plans to escape. Suddenly a guy with long blonde hair appears and asks to put this soul to rest. People notice him and call him commander. The guy uses the spiritual thread skill. He directs many red threads towards the demon and uses the binding skill. These threads cling to the demon and he manages to hold the monster. However, the monster still continues to disappear and this surprises the commander. The monster disappears completely and the funnel disappears. The guy with the scar on his face says they let him get away again. This demon is slightly stronger than the Devourer, but for some reason it is very difficult to catch. This demon is quite weak and cannot stand running fast. What should they do now? Even the commander's red thread cannot catch him. The commander says that everyone should be calmer. This time the demon has escaped and won't be back for a while, so they have another matter of utmost importance. Crazy crowds of monsters began to appear everywhere. This is what they need to worry about. Remnants of the smell are preserved on the red thread. Following this smell you can find the place where it was generated. He calls people named Pao Tong, Shi and Kunfeng. These 3 people respond. The commander says that they will unite into one group. Their task is to track down and deal with the demon. A man approaches him and wants to say something. The commander asks, have they still not left? What did he want? The guy says he ordered them to hunt them down. But where will he go? The commander looks at him and says that something is happening in Yacheng. He is going there to check. At the same time in Yacheng City, Shenyi walks through the city and thinks that on the way, he heard that the Mengjiu small group from the Kara organization was going to select people for some task, so he specially hurried here. He originally thought that this city was the same as his village, but he didn't expect that the houses here were so tall. And there are a lot of people here. People passing by say that it is not surprising that Wuchang is one of the main bases of leader Mengjiu, since the city is prosperous. This city is thriving under the patronage of strong people. The guy with the afro says he shouldn't be such an idiot. The guy with long hair asks what he said wrong. Commander Mengjiu is one of the strongest commanders in the Kara organization. Shenyi thinks that he still doesn't know much about this organization. Maybe he will learn something from these guys' conversation. These guys say that Commander Mengjiu is very kind to people, but very strict in hunting monsters, and not a single monster has escaped his hands yet. Not to mention his red thread. By the way, they say that thanks to this skill he is able to recognize even the most powerful disguised monster. How can you not idolize such a strong man? Shenyi thinks, does this mean this red thread can open him too? A guy stops him and asks this beggar what he forgot here. The guy pushed him and said that he was actually addressing him. This is a very expensive establishment, so he must leave here. The guys turn around and one of them tells this guy that he shouldn't be so cruel. The second guy agrees with him. Shenyi's stomach starts to growl and he thinks it's bad. The man turns around and asks if they are somehow connected with him. If they want to eat, then they need to go inside and mind their own business. The guy notices that he has run away somewhere. He is somehow strange, perhaps he is mute and also ran away when they spoke to him. The second guy says that he probably had urgent business. So is he coming? Sometime later in a dark gateway, Shenyi leans on the wall and thinks that thanks to his demonic form, he was able to run here in time for the group recruitment. During times of hunger, he must consume living beings, otherwise it becomes increasingly difficult for him to control himself. Fortunately, he is not particularly excited, he just needs to calm down a little and return to his normal form. He looks up and notices that a giant spider has caught a man in a web. The guy notices him and asks him to help him. Shenyi raises her head and looks at him. The spider begins to approach its victim. Shenyi jumps up very quickly and with one blow throws the spider away and breaks the web from the web. He grabs the guy by the clothes. They land and he asks this kid if he's okay. He notices him foaming at the mouth and says he has passed out. Shenyi thinks he is lucky that he didn't notice his demonic form. But what is the monster doing inside the city? He notices the smell and wonders what kind of smell it is. Could it be that this is food and he should eat it? At the same time, Mangju stops the child and says he shouldn't do this. The child turns and recognizes this uncle. Mangju says it's really him. The child points in the direction of the caller and says that his car got there. Mangju says that it is very dangerous here, but he promises that he will help him return the toy. Should he leave here first? The child agrees and begins to run away. He stops and asks his uncle if he is doing a special task. Mangju agrees and says that he wants to give him a special task. He must tell others not to go near the yellow gas. He can handle this, right? The child promises him to complete this task. Mangju wraps the cloth around his face and walks into the yellow gas area. Sometime later, Shenyi is sleeping in someone's house and several people are standing around him. The child asks his mother why this uncle hasn't woken up yet. The woman says that he should be quieter and that he shouldn't wake up this guy. Shenyi opens her eyes and looks around. The child says that his uncle woke up. The man says that he will call Miss Tanya here. The woman asks how he feels. She is going to ask him something. At the same moment, the door opens and the man tells Miss Tanya that this guy has woken up. The woman with pink hair says that he has finally woken up. She should check on him first. Shenyi asks her to wait and asks if she can tell what happened to him first. Tanya says the controversy also seems to have affected his memory. In short, after he saved the child, she inhaled poison and fell into a coma. However, Mengju pulled it out and brought it here. The woman says that she and her husband were very worried about him since the other children had long since woken up, but he had not. Tanya asks did he find out what he wanted. Now he will let you check it. Shenyi agrees. She examines his face and says his eyes are normal and his fingers are also fine. She pats him on the back and says that everything is fine with this too, there are no serious deviations. Oa takes the blanket off him and is about to say something. Shenyi returns the blanket and says there is no need to check anything there. Tanya says that she just wants to ensure her health. If he doesn't want to, then he can forget about it, but only then he shouldn't complain that something hurts. Shenyi says that he will definitely not complain. Mengju comes into the room and asks, is this guy awake? He asks Tanya if he can talk to him alone. She says he can do it without any problem. Shenyi looks at him and wonders, is this Mengju? He watches as Tanya leaves the room with the child. He sits down on a chair and says that he can relax because he just came to talk. Shenyi asks, does he want something? He wonders what he is interested in. Judging by the doctor's words, he brought it here, but then did he really see him in demonic form? Mengju asks, so he didn't notice anything unusual. Shenyi says that he doesn't know anything. It seems like he didn't see anything. Mengju says he can relax and think slowly. To be honest, he feels like it's just a small monster attack. He probably shouldn't ask him. But while checking the area, he discovered that a nearby flytrap monster was found near the southern walls of the city. Someone moved this corpse. Shenyi asks if the monster could have been moved. He thinks it looks like he didn't notice. Mengju says no one knows. Shenyi says that he only saw the child and that monster. He apologizes for not being able to help. Mengju says there is nothing wrong with it. If he suddenly needs something, he can tell him about it, but for now it's better for him to rest. They hear a knock in the room. He gets up and says that the selection will begin soon, so it's time for him to go. Shenyi asks, will there be a selection soon? Mengju turns around and asks if he was planning to participate too. He does not advise him to participate in this. Shenyi asks why. Mengju says he will die. The Devourer is the weakest among the 18 demons, and their ancestors paid a fatal price for him. They only sealed him in a deep well, hoping that he would not recover and would eventually die. More than 100 years have passed since the Devourer was sealed, most likely he is dead. Shenyi wonders, so they still don't know about his death. Mengju goes to the door and says that people are too weak, even after inhaling a little more poison. He lost consciousness for several days. He is very weak, so he is doomed to die. He must return home alive. Shenyi wonders, should he return home? but he became a demon devourer. Now he has no shelter. In order to return to his old life, he will spare no effort to join the Kara organization and find a way to become human. After some time at the selection site, many people with different equipment gathered here. Someone says that Commander Mangju, Shenyi, is there. He thinks that fortunately he made it, but there are a lot of people here. People say they don't even know how to fight this year. They say that all these people came for the selection. Shenyi bumps into someone and apologizes for it. The girl with blue hair casts a contemptuous glance at him and remains silent. Mangju says, "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the selection." He says his name and says that he is the commander of the Organization of Punishment. Next, he will explain to them the selection rules. The rules are very simple. Any methods are allowed. You need to stay in the circle. Whichever of the 200 people can cope will be able to join the organization. Fireworks light up in the center of the circle and he says that the selection begins. People start fighting each other, shouting loudly. Shenyi looks at the people fighting next to him and asks what is happening here. The guy says they should look at the girl who came here. He and several other guys surround her and say that she is alone, but there are many of them here. She should let them take care of themselves. The girl with blue hair says that it is very embarrassing to be in the company of such non-entities. She takes out her weapon and makes short work of all these guys. They say she is incredibly strong. The guy with long hair says he didn't expect the level of applicants to be so unequal. No wonder why there is such chaos here. The guy with the afro asks if he can shut up already. He better think about how to survive. The guy points to them and says that he saw weak opponents there, especially the short one, because he is already dying. The guy with long hair gets angry and asks who he called short. The guy with the afro says they're in big trouble now. The guy starts shooting at them with a crossbow and says that they must taste death. They run away from him and say that this guy is very dangerous and they are hurt. The guy behind Shenyi says that he cannot believe that some weak worm dared to come to the selection. He owes it to him to teach him a lesson about how high the sky is. This guy needs to prepare. Shenyi says that he sees him for the first time in his life. So what is he going to do? The guy attacks him, making a loud cry. Shenyi looks at him and thinks that this guy is not listening to him at all. He kicks and fights off this strong guy. The two guys who supported this guy are very surprised by this. A strong guy lies on the floor, unconscious from one blow. Shenyi says that he is not going to waste his time. They should approach him because they shouldn't waste their time. The two guys refuse to go to him. One of them notices something and says that they should look at something right behind this guy. A huge shadow falls on Shenyi. A huge man stands right behind him. Shenyi says they can start. The guy says that he was actually going in the other direction. The guy with long hair says that this guy is incredible. They need to somehow win him over to their side to strengthen their strength. The guy with the afro says his stupid head was recently beaten. Where does he have such confidence to say such things? He can help him. The guy with long hair says he looks like that guy. They still have to keep an eye on him. Shenyi thinks that the good thing is that at least there is some benefit from this misfortune. Even in human form he is stronger than ordinary people. Some time later, someone loudly says that the selection is over. Mangju says they can accept his congratulations. People ask, is the selection already over? That's all. This year the selection did not go very well. There was too much muddy water. They should be happy that they got through so easily. Shenyi wonders, didn't the village chief say that Kara is quite a big organization? The guy with long hair says it's too easy, but it's not over yet. The guy with the afro says that he shouldn't speak so confidently when his face is beaten like it is now. Mangju says that they will now be grouped into squads of 10 people. From now on, they will live together, train together, and seal demons together. First of all, he needs to remind them that the lives of their bandmates depend on their strength. People say that then they won't have to fish in troubled waters. Does anyone want to be in the same squad with him? Survival is also a skill. Shenyi thinks what these people really care about is this. At the same moment, he extends his hand and the guy says that his name is Sia. The guy with long hair says that he would like to invite him to their squad. Most likely he also noticed that the selection is still not over. They need his strength. Shenyi wonders, this simpleton managed to gather so many masters in such a short time. I wonder if he will notice his true identity. But the greater the risk, the greater the reward, and perhaps this will help him qualify. They shook hands and he agreed with him. Sia is happy and says that the squad has been successfully formed. Will their squad have a name? The most invincible squad in the universe. Crazy Fighter Squad. A squad who set foot on the path of good and decided to destroy all evil spirits. Okay, then that's settled. Their name is Crazy Fighters. Tanya appears next to him and greets him. She says that she is the temporary leader of their squad and they can call her Tanya. They should follow her. She will take them to the dorm and explain some organizational issues along the way. Sometime later, Tanya says that their commander is Mengju and the main headquarters is Yecheng. At the same time, they also took on the task of maintaining the security of the surrounding 5 cities. Since most official members of the organization are constantly on missions, they will rarely see them. They, too, will soon go on a mission and will kill and seal monsters. Sia asks the commander when they can go on the mission. Tanya says that this will not happen soon. The rest of the group says they'll be looking forward to it. Aren't they still too weak? Tanya looks at them from under her glasses and is silent. She opens the door and says she has something to tell them. Members of the organization respect the strong and put strength first, but she and Commander Mengju believe that it is more important to be vigilant like animals. This is their hostel. She says goodbye to them and says that she needs to go receive other groups. They remain standing next to the hostel. Shenyi says that it still seems to him that Tanya is not saying something. The girl with blue hair says that he didn't imagine it. The girl asks if they think the selection ended too quickly. Listening to them, now she thinks so too. Then their dorm is most likely a trap and they need to leave. Shenyi and the blue-haired girl say that this is not true. The girl sat down and said that then they can stay here, but they will not enter. Shenyi says that it is useless because they have no choice at all. Therefore, why don't they attack first? Sometime later, the girl with blue hair says that she and her sister checked all the rooms on the 2nd floor, but did not find anything unusual. Shenyi says that they also checked the courtyard and the rooms on the 1st floor. There is nothing unusual there. Sia says that he also checked everything with this stone, which he bought on the road, but found nothing. The girl asks, maybe they came up with everything themselves and Tanya didn't have anything in mind. Shenyi says that this is not so. He has already communicated with Tanya and she is acting very seriously. She just doesn't say anything. The girl asks, then what should they do now? 3 people say they have to wait. At the same time, in a high tower in the middle of the city, Tanya says that among these people there are many children who have never encountered monsters. They will most likely be afraid of the illusion monsters. Mengju says it's better than letting them fight real monsters and die. Tanya says that this time the management asked to soften the standards and recruit more people, but he does not listen to commands and scares off candidates in every possible way. Mengju raises his hand and summons an object. He says there's nothing wrong with it. He will take the punishment upon himself. A large dome of energy appears above the dorm. People are afraid of this and ask what is happening. They have a bad feeling about this. The mysterious man tells Mengju that no one would have thought that he had already snuck into this place. This will also add a little filling to his illusory trials. A man with a strong aura says that the fun is about to begin. Sometime later, Shenyi is sleeping in bed. Angela asks why isn't he ashamed. The sun has already dried him out, but he is still sleeping. Shenyi starts to wake up. She tells her grandfather that it's all his fault. If he had not sent him to get herbs, then he would not have fallen. The old man says that he admits his guilt. When he wakes up, then she should help him check on him. Shenyi gets up and sees Angela in front of him. She says he finally woke up. He was unconscious for 3 days after falling off a cliff. The doctor said he hit his head. Shenyi asks Angela, isn't she dead? She tells Grandpa that he hit his head really hard. The old man says that she should stay with him, and he runs off to get some herbs. Shenyi asks them not to leave and asks if they can talk. Sometime later, he asks the headman of Taugri, so Angela and he were adopted by him since childhood, and they are not orphans. The old man says that he unexpectedly called him headman, although he always called him grandfather. Shenyi says that they grew up together for more than 10 years. A few days ago, he fell from a cliff while collecting herbs and was rescued by the villagers. He was unconscious for 3 days, so he lost his memory. Angela agrees and asks how he feels. Shenyi thinks this can't happen. He entered forbidden territory, became a monster, Angela died, and then he joined the organization of punishment. All this is true. His demonic form is direct proof of this. Angela asks does he not believe her. She will show him the places where they grew up, in case he remembers something. She tells her grandfather that they are leaving. The old man says that he spent so much time taking care of this boy, and he decided to hurt him like that. On the street, Angela says that when he was 5 years old, he climbed this tree and fell, then his grandfather scolded him. Previously, there was a hole in which she fell during the rain, after which he immediately filled it up. Every summer evening grandfather takes them for a walk here, but he didn't like it. Shenyi wonders, is this also part of the test? But why is it designed this way? This is definitely an illusion in which Angela is not only alive, but their lives have changed. They notice a guy talking to a child. Shenyi thinks that Kiwing is still annoying. The guy gives the child the hair and says that it was not difficult for him at all. He can take his hair. Shenyi asks, how long ago did Kiwin change like this? Angela asks what is he talking about? All the people in the village are very kind. Kiwon constantly chops wood and brings food to the elderly. The other residents are also very good, and the orphans are not left unattended. Shenyi notices something and is about to ask something. Angela says that so that everyone can enjoy the gifts of the gods, they eat together every day. Shenyi asks, how long has this been going on? Suddenly something appears next to them. Shenyi wonders, what is this? A chair appears below him, on which he sat down. People created from strange energy say that this year there was a wonderful harvest. These are all divine gifts. Shenyi looks at the food and thinks that their village has never been rich in crops. There has never been such delicious food and alcohol. Why are all these people dressed so beautifully? The guy asks why he is so sad, isn't he happy? Shenyi is grabbed by many hands that crawl out of the ground. He smiles and says that he is very happy. Some time later, there was a huge ivy in the hostel building. Suddenly, someone's hand burst out of this energy. A girl with blue hair gets out and falls to the floor of the dorm. She wonders if this is really such a big test. Did some of them become mummies? And that laugh is terribly creepy. She notices Shenyi, who is covered in strange ivy. She takes out a knife and cuts off the vines that grabbed him. He falls to the floor. The girl kicks him away and thinks that the main priority is to save her teammates and then come up with a plan. She cuts the vines and frees him. She says he should wake up. He's still alive, isn't he? She slaps him in the face and tells him that he must stop pretending or she will actually kill him. She shakes him by grabbing his clothes and tries to wake him up. She notices a strange sound behind her and turns around to look. The girl asks, all these corpses, how could they change so much? She notices that people's bodies are beginning to change and she continues to follow the movements of the ivy and people. Suddenly a very long monster appeared, which is this ivy. The girl is surprised by this and asks where this monster came from here. Sia says they were attacked by Demon Santa. A girl with blue hair notices him and asks how this happened. How did a demon appear in the organization? Sia says it doesn't matter where the demon is from here. They need to leave here because he won't be able to handle this. Ivy starts moving and grabs Sia. The girl notices this and is about to help him, but she is also engulfed by this ivy. She says he should try to get out. Sia says it is useless. The more they resist, the more the ivy will cover. At the same time, Angela says that from the moment he woke up, he doesn't believe her and doesn't even smile. She's here, but he's still unhappy. She takes off her jacket and asks if she pleases him, then he will be happy. Shenyi takes on the form of a demon and strikes, telling the freak that Angela would not behave like that. The monster in her form retreats and screams in pain. His severed hand lies on the floor. The monster says that he wished him a happy death and he also wanted a pleasant meal. It takes on its true appearance and says that since he doesn't want it for the good, then it will be for the bad. How dare he cut off his hand? Now he will die. The monster is surprised by what he sees. Shenyi very quickly appeared in front of him to attack and asks what he thinks he is. The monster asks if he is not human. What is he? Shenyi says that his illusion is terrible. This ordeal really irritates him. In reality, he, the girl with blue hair and Sia are hanging, captured by Ivy. Sia closes her eyes as his face bleeds. He begins to lose his mind while looking at Shenyi, who suddenly cuts the ivy and quickly disappears. He flies up to them very quickly and cuts the vines that were holding them. They all fall to the floor together and cough. Sia thanks this noble warrior and says that if he had not made it in time, then all the blood would have been sucked out of them. Shenyi says they shouldn't thank him. The girl is surprised and asks, is he Shenyi? Has he become a demon? Sia was very frightened and says that they just got out of the tiger's mouth, but immediately found themselves in the dragon's mouth. He asks not to eat it because it is not tasty. Shenyi says that he is not crazy enough to eat people. Sia asks is he really sane. The girl asks if he can talk. Shenyi says that if they want, they can attack. He thinks that the headman was right, monsters will never be accepted. He says that he has no bad intentions, and if they continue to interfere with him, then he will kill them. Sia runs towards him very quickly. This greatly surprises Shenyi. He grabs him by the leg and says in surprise that this is the first time he has seen such a tough guy with such a great shape. This is incredibly cool. He can still remain sane in his demon form. The girl asks Sia not to scare him. Shenyi asks, aren't they afraid of him at all? He's a monster. The girl says that even though he is a monster, he has retained his mind. Sia says he doesn't care either. Shenyi says it's strange because the village chief said they would kill him. Sia agrees and says that his headman was not mistaken. People in the form of demons have brought serious disasters to humanity, and there were still many ignorant people who tried in vain to strengthen themselves by becoming demons. Therefore, the authorities do not stand on ceremony with such people, they are immediately killed. In this way they kept other people at bay. His headman is quite civilized for not sealing him. In any case, he shouldn't relax just yet. Although he said he didn't care, he didn't say he would let him go. Shenyi asks what does he want to say. Sia says he has to help him track down one demon, or rather the Death Knight Elton. Shenyi asks if he just needs to track What if he accidentally kills him? Sia asks, is he really that confident? Shen Yi says he will help him. What about her? Does she want to kill him or like him? The girl says that she is not going to do anything. She knows nothing about him or what form he is in, but one day he will lose his mind and then she will kill him. Shen Yi says that he understood her. Sia says she looks familiar to him. Lei Yun is from the Eye of Kriya, isn't it? Is that why she wasn't surprised by his demonic form? Shen Yi asks, what is this Kriya Eye? Lei Yun asks, does he even know about this? Eye of the Kriya is a city located in the north of the mainland, known for its high technology and crime rate. They say that as long as a person has money, any crimes will be forgiven and one can continue to live in peace. It is very popular there to use mechanical implants for the body, and some replace everything except the brain. So it doesn't matter to her what shape he's in, as long as his sanity and brain are there. Sia says this is very cool. Only people from the Eye of Kriya can say such things. Lei Yun pushes him away and says that they should stop talking. They should not forget that the demon Santa is still alive. Sia says that this demon seal is outside of Yacheng, which means someone specially placed it here. Lei Yun says whether this was done on purpose or not, it doesn't matter. What matters is how they act. Will they fight or run away? If you run away, where? They hear someone say that they should go here because there is a low-ranking monster here. Someone tells the commander that he will deal with this vine. Another person says that in this case he takes on that side. By the way, there are still 3 living people here. Sia says these are official members of the organization. The guy says that their second stage of selection is over, they are here to clear everything, they must go to the safe zone. Sia says that is expected from official members of the organization, they look too beautiful. Shen Yi agrees with the guy and says that he should stop playing around, they should leave. They shouldn't bother them. Lei Yun asks, can you see them sealing the demon sand in the safe zone? Behind them, the vines grab people one by one. Shen Yi says that at the moment her interest is at least inappropriate. Sia says she is too confident too. They notice that the vine is hitting one of the organization members. They all look at how the man was pierced through with a vine. Shen Yi says that this vine is getting even bigger. The monster makes scary sounds and starts moving. Sia says Demon Santa is furious, she no longer needs a medium to come back. Her strength is growing at an unprecedented rate, which means that she is becoming even stronger. They will all die here. There is no longer a safe zone, which means they have nowhere to run. They will soon end. Lei Yun loudly says that he must come to his senses. The monster's vine is almost approaching him, but Shen Yi manages to grab it with his hand and chop off the vine with his free hand. He says that there are many wounded ahead and they can join them. Lei Yun says that he should wait because she will go with him. They run together towards the monster. Sia asks, didn't they hear him? They will all die. He clenches his fist and asks what is going on here. He said that they would die, so what difference does it make whether they are on the front line or in the rear? Besides, why is he so weak? He summoned the strength to rise. At the same time, someone asks, what is this all about? This is Santa's core and it looks like she's furious and they won't be able to stop her. Tanya says it shouldn't be like this. This monster is deliberately showing them his weak point. She uses magic and uses the ability to set a seal. The guy asks, is he crazy? She specializes in healing, not sealing. Tanya says that is why they should help her. She flies up and continues to apply the seal. Several guys fight the demon and say that they cannot retreat, they must detain the monster. The guy tells the other guy that he's being attacked from behind. The vine is approaching the guy with great speed and is almost attacking him. He screams in fear and freezes in place. The vine stopped and the guy asked what was going on. Why did it stop? The other guy says he gets it. The captain and crew must have found the monster's core. Miss Tanya's seal temporarily delays the monster's movement. This is a great opportunity for them. At the same time, Sia says that if Santa continues to absorb human energy, then Miss Tanya will not be able to seal this monster. The vanguard's target is at a height of half a meter, the rear flank should attack in an arc. People look at this and are surprised by this power. Sia says he has a tool to measure distance. Can they clear the places they haven't cleared yet? They also need to break the energy spheres as quickly as possible. People raise their guns and say they will do it no problem and they will give it their all. People all attack the monster together. Sometime later, people say that Commander Tanya is very strong. It worked and the monster was sealed. Tanya thinks that something is wrong with Santa's aura. Even if it is part of the core, the monster should not be that weak. She notices something in the monster's core. Her spell was broken and the monster released very strong energy. At the same time, the guy says this technique is very effective. If they continued at the same speed, they wouldn't even need the captain's help until she returned. He turns around and notices too late that the vine begins to move. The monster kills this guy with a very strong attack and the others also notice this. Santa begins to make sounds and move. Lei Yun asks if the seal was broken. The demon makes sounds and approaches them. It targets Shen Yi and pierces right through his torso. Sia and Lei Yun are surprised and call him by name. Shenyi grabs the monster's hand and says that it is very strong. But he caught this monster. They can leave it to him. Tanya looks at the strong aura of the monster and says that the seal failed, and now the monster is furious. They must protect this place because the new members of the squad are in danger. The guy says they can still wait for Mengju. Tanya says that it is too late. They must stand on defense. At the same time, Sia and Lei Yun watch the battle with the monster. Shenyi says they shouldn't go near him. They should leave it to him. They need to hurry and destroy the energy ball so it will no longer be able to absorb energy. He grabs the monster's arm and kicks him in the head. Sana grabs his head and starts twisting him really hard. It throws Shenyi onto the floor, causing a lot of dust to appear. He looks at the monster through this cloud and his eye sparkles. He attacks very quickly and delivers many blows. With these attacks, he caused severe damage to the monster's body. Sia says he cut off the limbs of that monster. Lei Yun says he's doing great. The monster immediately begins to recover. Lei Yun says that Sana absorbed too much energy and the severed parts have already been restored. Sia says this is very disgusting. Tanya comes to them and says that they must get out of here. They can provide this to official members of the organization. They won't be able to deal with such a monster, so they must hurry. The vine flies into it very quickly. Shenyi manages to hit it and save her. Tanya asks, so he is a demon. Shenyi says now is not the time to talk about this. He will not harm them. He very quickly rushes to attack the monster. Tanya thinks that she needs to detain the monster no matter what until the captain arrives. Shenyi strikes the monster's head very quickly, after which he strikes again. This attack causes Sana to fall to the ground. It controls the vines to attack him. Shenyi quickly appears on the other side and delivers a strong blow to the monster's head. Sia says he succeeded. Tanya says this is not true, Sana is still alive. The monster lies on the floor with its head cut off. Shenyi thinks that he is physically exhausted and he is also hungry. Green liquid begins to flow from the monster's neck. Shenyi watches this in surprise. It begins to take shape. Many faces appear on the monster's body, saying that they are in pain. Tanya says that Sana has absorbed too many lives, so she has acquired not only language skills, but also consciousness, and also has many clones. It will be very difficult to kill her. Shenyi says it's true. This piece of energy is very tasty. He stood in a strange position and looks at the monster. Sana asks if this is the Wasteland Eater. Shenyi reaches the monster's head with amazing speed. He grabs the monster by that head and rips it off the main body. The head in his hand says that he needs to run away. Shenyi looks at this face and says that he is unbearably hungry. Sana asks if he is a Wasteland Eater. He must let her go. Shenyi did not listen to the end and began to eat the head, his consciousness being captured by the demon. The other faces of the monster say that it hurts. He ate his head. He needs to run, but it's too late. Sana starts trying to escape from here. Mengju appears in the room, who says that it was only a little, and now only he can put an end to it. He draws his sword and runs to attack Shenyi. He turns around and deflects the sword attack with his hand. He grabs the blade of the sword, squeezes it tightly and screams loudly. With the force of his hand, he breaks this sword. Mengju says he should calm down. He strikes hard using 2 of his fingers. This attack sends Shenyi flying into the wall. San's faces say they must escape. It's dangerous here and they almost died. It's time to use the forbidden skill entrusted by the master to escape. Suddenly, threads enter the monster's body. Mengju holds the monster with these threads and attracts the monster. He asks where is she going. The red entangling threads should gather. The threads compress the body of the monster with many faces and tear the monster apart. The faces lying on the floor only say that they need to run away from here. 6 small remnants of the monster are spreading in different directions. It thinks that executing Mengju clearly did not expect that it would learn this concealment technique after 100 years under the seal. Suddenly, the monster's path was blocked by Mengju, who asks what kind of children's tricks are these. He squeezes one of the monster's faces and all the other parts explode too. He says that the most problematic thing remains to be dealt with. Shenyi in demon form roars as he looks at him. He practically does not speak, but only makes sounds. Mengju says that he is an uncontrollable beast that broke out of his cage. He must come back. The energy enters Shenyi and he finds himself in a sphere created from energy. The last thing he saw that day was Captain Mengju approaching him. He was later removed from the scene by medical logistics personnel. Although he was conscious, he could not speak or move at all. Tanya didn't ask anything. She used all sorts of strange potions on him. Sometimes it even seemed to him that she was going to kill him. A few days later he miraculously recovered and began to speak. Only from beginning to end he saw only her alone. Sia asks, didn't Mentor Tanya say that he recovered? How is he feeling? Does anything hurt? Shenyi asks why are they all here? Tanya asks why they are all crowded here. Some time later, Shenyi says he understands. They protected him by hiding his demon identity. They want him to become their sword that will slay demons. Mengju says that's how it is. Shenyi ponders this for a while. He says that he fully understands the current situation and has no right to ask him for anything, but he would like to add something. Mang Ju listens to him with interest. He says that he is ready to become their sharpest sword, but they must help him find a way to become human again. Mang Ju is silent for a while. He asks, is he interested in the land of the abyss? Shen Yi asks, what is this? Mang Ju asks, so he doesn't know anything about the land of the abyss and still wants to become a human again. The abyssal land is a place where a collection of punishment structure books are sealed. There are many sealed books inside that no one talks about. There are rumors in the outside world that there is a book out there that describes how to turn a demon into a monster. Many demons made their way to the land of the abyss in search of the book, but they all disappeared. Shen Yi thinks that these demons were unlikely to be weaker than him, even if they failed. He asks, since he brought up this topic, does that mean there is a way to get in there? Perhaps, before he reaches the library keeper, being his sword, he will quickly die at the hands of demons in the heat of battle. But it doesn't matter because he can wait. Mang Ju says that if he loses himself during this, he will kill him without hesitation. Shen Yi agrees and says that he promised. While he is getting rid of the demons, he will head to the land of the abyss, right? Mang Ju says he is too impatient. They would talk about slaying demons once he recovered from his wounds. The entrance to the land of the abyss is controlled by the elders, so getting there is not an easy task. Besides, there are a lot of books there, so the search will take some time, but he will try to do it quickly. Visiting time has come to an end. He will be under Tanya's supervision. He is about to leave and says that he should take a good rest. Shen Yi tells the captain that he would like to ask him something. Many saw him in the form of a demon. Those people, Mang Ju asks, so he wanted to ask about them. They all died at the hands of the monster. The next day, Shen Yi got out of bed and began to walk. He could not resist and fell to his knees. The door to his room opens and Sia and Lei Yun walk in. They greet him and ask how he is feeling. What is he doing on the floor? Is it because of yesterday? Lei Yun comes over to help him. Sia says she should stop and not touch him. Strong energy bursts out from Shen Yi's body. This energy gathers at one point and an unknown creature appears. Sia says this is Sophaman. They all look at this creature in surprise. He says that after the death of an adult Sophaman, there is a possibility of this creature being revived in the body of a possessed one. These creatures look attractive in their youth and do not have high attack power. They don't need very much food to live, and some of it can be intelligent, so they're essential for travel. Shen Yi wonders, isn't this monster with the mind of a man like him? Sia says that they are very popular in the market. One such monster can be sold for 10,000 gold coins. Sophaman notices that he is reaching out to him and making a strange sound. It jumps off and runs away from him. Sia says loudly that 10,000 gold coins are running away. He tries to catch up with this creature and says that it will not be able to escape. Lei Yun and Shen Yi are watching him. A few days later, Shen Yi began training as a form of punishment. The training is essentially no different from others, just some of the requirements have been increased. Lei Yun often did more than what was required of them, but he shortened the time each time. Luckily, Sia was bringing up the rear. Gradually, he began to notice that training was necessary not only to increase physical fitness, but also to work as a team. Their team began to understand each other more often without words. But today is the most long-awaited day because we finally got to Teju. They see a cardboard with Mang Ju drawn in front of them. Sia asks what does this even mean. Tanya appears from behind the cardboard and says that they are clearly surprised because Captain Man sponsored their special training with this figure. They all look at her with dissatisfied faces. Tanya says she was just joking. The real special training will take place here. She opens the door and says that this is the gateway to the arsenal of the punishment structure. Their task for today is to choose their own related weapons. Shen Yi says that he thought the armory was a place with weapons lined up. He clearly didn't expect to see something like this. Sia says that the weapons float in the air and they also glow. The arsenal of the punishment structure is more dazzling than what is outside. Tanya says that the time has not yet come for admiration. They should listen to her. The most common weapons are blades, swords, and axes, which they probably had to deal with before. Weapons are bound to the user. In other words, their strength is determined by the user's abilities, techniques, and more. Since most party members have the need for seals, experience, and other things, in ancient times, great weapon masters and rune masters developed a method to give weapons more power. How to adapt weapons and runes to the abilities of the fighters so that they could not only kill monsters, but also seal demons. In other words, the weapons here are simply enormously powerful compared to the most ordinary weapons. Even if the adapted user is a child, he can display great strength when he encounters the right weapon. Over the years, the weapon became larger and larger to the point where it gained consciousness and became a spiritual weapon. It is capable of influencing the human mind, and after integration into the human body, like a vessel, it increases strength, taking it to a completely different level. Arsenal weapons are the best products in the arms industry. Each of the weapons has consciousness and can understand the human essence. Some of them have even grown to the level of a spiritual instrument. They must move forward, choose their weapons, and determine their lives. They all look in fascination at the weapon floating in the air. Sia touches a huge bright sphere. The energy is attracted to him and he is surprised by what he saw. Some object crashes into his face with great force. Shenyi approaches him and asks if he is okay. Lei Yun asks if he got hurt. Sia says he is fine, he was just a little scared. Tanya says that the arsenal has a unique collection of foreign weapons. His weapon has a strange shape, but thanks to this it can be used as a weapon and as a means of emergency. The most important thing is that if you put an invention into it, there will be a chance of successful improvement. Sia picks up his weapon and says that he will rely on this in the future. Tanya says that he is highly adaptable to this weapon, which is why it manifested itself so quickly. They must close their eyes and concentrate. Their weapon will appear soon. They both agree, close their eyes, and a strong aura surrounds them. Tanya says this is not bad. They should hold their breath and relax their mind. They can continue. Many swords rise into the air. One of the swords begins to head towards them. They both realize that a black blade is coming towards them. The sword is directed at Lei Yun and she immediately grabs the hilt. She grabs a large sword with jagged and patterned designs. She easily holds this sword with one hand, a small amount of energy swirling around the blade of the sword. Lei Yun says that this sword is easy to use and much stronger than ordinary swords. Kanya says that this is not bad, quite a powerful weapon. Shenyi thinks that it seems that the weapon he senses now is not the same one at all. There will soon be a weapon that suits him well. Many swords begin to circle around him. Sia is surprised at how strong his response is. Another sword flies next to him and heads towards Shenyi. Tanya says it's very similar to Captain Man in the past. Shenyi opens his eyes and grabs one of the swords that was hovering next to him. Before he has time to touch this sword, all the swords that were next to him fall to the ground. He asks the captain what does this mean. Tanya says that this is the first time she has encountered this. Shenyi closes his eyes and says that he will try again. The swords that were lying at his feet begin to move. All these weapons rise again next to him. Everyone asks, has it really worked out now? A huge sphere appears next to him. Sia is about to ask something, but he is interrupted by Tanya, who says that this is a spiritual weapon. There is a powerful force inside Shenyi, and the spirit of the weapon wants to recognize him as the master. A new force is born in his body. He must fight the attractive force of devastation. The fact that he feels bad is normal. The pupils in Shenyi's eyes have disappeared and he begins to growl inhumanly. Sia wants to go help him, but Tanya stops him, saying that he should not come near him. If he survives, it will take his strength to the next level. In his mind there is a battle between two huge creatures. A demon-like creature grabs the second one by the throat and swallows it. A creature is surrounded by lightning after it has consumed another creature. When this happened, Shenyi came to his senses, his aura changed slightly and he emitted a lot of lightning. Sia runs to him and says he is great. Tanya asks how he feels. Shenyi says that he feels that he can use the power of the abyss more freely, but he doesn't know how much. Someone says he should try. Shenyi strikes with his hand that has transformed into a blade. He releases strong magical energy that leaves a large cut on the floor of the armory. Sia asks what is this. They hear something click and it attracts everyone's attention. The guys who were outside hear sounds and say that it is coming from the direction of the arsenal. What's going on there? They should go see it. The man with long black hair says that he wanted to take advantage of Meng Ju's absence to cause trouble, but something very interesting seems to be happening because of the guy who turned into a demon. Some time later in an unknown building, Sia walks ahead while Lei Yun and Shenyi carry the monsters' bodies. They take turns throwing the bodies of the dead monsters into the box. Sia says his back hurts a lot. Helping the wounded and cleaning the laboratory is not included in the training process at all. Captain Tanya treats them as free labor. Maybe they should complain about her. Since they chose weapons, their free time has been greatly reduced. They go out after dark and return at dawn. She even set demons on them. Lei Yun says that there is still no captain, and Miss Tanya is leading the team. Who is he going to complain to? Shenyi says that they have also become much stronger during this time. Sia asks if helping to clean the lab can be considered part of teaching. Shenyi asks, maybe this is training patients for unpleasant things. Sia asks this traitor if she really bribed him or something like that. They hear the guys outside the window saying that their away mission was good. One of them was even able to kill 3 monsters. Another says he only killed 1 monster, but it was much better than the stake driving practice. Shenyi, Sia and Lei Yun notice these guys. They all watch them and envy them. Some of them say that they came at the same time as them and are already going on missions to destroy demons. They go back into the laboratory and are silent. They sighed at the same time with disappointment. Sia asks why don't they skip master's training and go on a mission. Lei Yun asks if this is right. Shenyi says that even if not, they can go see it in the mission hall. They should go, there's no point in putting it off. Sia says there might be short-term missions they can do between training sessions. Tanya suddenly appears and asks if they are going somewhere. Does that mean they are done cleaning? If she hadn't come now, they would have left faster than she could hand them the organization form. After some time in a place with a lot of monsters, Shenny, Lei Yun and Zia are riding on a cart. Shenny points and says that they should look that way. He had never met such a monster. Lei Yun says they should wait because she wants to record it. Shenny says that she will write down and he will describe. Sia says that this type of monster is called cloud-eating beasts. They eat mainly grass and leaves. Shenny says that this monster is like a cow with cloudy horns and pink hooves and has a huge body. And does it eat grass? Lei Yun says that is expected of him. He knows a lot. Sia says that he is talking to them actually. This knowledge can be gleaned from books, and they have been studying for 2 days now. Aren't they bored? Shenny says that this is not true. There is a big difference between reading books and studying up close. Lei Yun says that in addition, personal notes for them could be much more useful for killing demons in the future. Also, you can't attack a demon with a bunch of books. Shenny asks what is the point of the notes. Why don't they just eat? Lei Yun says this is not necessary. A full belly will not affect the completion of the mission. Sia says that he would rather kill the Death Knight than endure their boring conversations throughout the journey. If he could turn back time, he would rather work in the laboratory instead of going on this away mission. Tanya appears in front of them and asks if they are going somewhere. Sia tells her mentor that they thought it was time for them to take on a mission to destroy demons. Tanya asks if they haven't put things in order in the laboratory yet, and are they already planning to go on a mission. They say together that they are to blame. Tanya says that there is nothing wrong with this. Teenagers have high ideals and aspirations. She understands everything. She has one mission that will suit them perfectly. Sia hoped that they would get a good opportunity to show off their abilities, but this is a routine delivery. Besides, he would still have to endure these too. In his hands is a piece of paper on which it is written that they must deliver medicine, serial number 8782, to the city of Jilu, time to complete 1 week, contraindication for the mission, deliver the goods in full to the guard officer. If some of the goods are lost or stolen, they must destroy the rest. Sia thinks that this is also an experience. Sometime later, they all ride together in the cart. Sia asks what kind of mission is this. He was already tired of sitting and doing nothing. Shenny says that he can give him a set of clothes, he will lay it down and sleep. Lei Yun points and says they should look at this. They notice a small settlement. Shenny looks at the flag and says that this is Jilu Station. He looks at the map and says that judging by the route, they have 1 more day left to reach the city. Sia starts crying and says that they will finally come. Lei Yun says that they still have enough time so they can spend the night at the station. She hits the horse with a whip to make it speed up. They are heading towards this station. There are several people in a large but almost empty building. The man says that there have been no supplies of food or water in Jilu for several days, leaving only vegetables and leftover dried meat. What are they even doing at this station? The second man says that the celebration is approaching, everyone in the city is on edge right now, and it is normal to make a mistake. He shouldn't worry, because the members of the organization won't be here for a long time. Sometime later, the man says that they must have been very tired on the road. Maybe he should organize food for them, and then they can rest. He will give them the best room with a view of the city. Food will be brought to them later. Lei Yun thanks him for this. They enter the building and she says that it is very dusty. Shenny says that dust should not be wiped in such a place because it will accumulate again. Sia looks out the window and says they should watch too. Through the window you can see the sunset, which illuminates the city. Shenny points and says it's very beautiful. Sia says that he will be even more surprised when he sees the other side of Jilu. He can beg and then he will talk about it. Shenny says that the mission card should have an introduction. Sia says he should have let him show off his awareness. Many years ago, due to the uprising of the demon god, there was an impact on the lithosphere which led to the separation of the continental plates. The northwestern corner of the continent suffered the most. It subsided and split into a huge island. The legendary monster raised the city of Jilu from the sea to the surface. Thanks to all its power, this monster has formed a unique landscape with glaciers and deserts. Because there is only one way to the island, and because of its unique image of combining glaciers and deserts, its unique culture and origins have been popularized. But it doesn't happen all the time. Every year the ancient beast turns over, bringing with it the breath of spring. This short spring, the city's residents throw a festival to thank the ancient beast and celebrate the new year. After turning over, the landscape of desert and ice changes under the influence of the power of the ancient beast. Where there was a desert, glaciers appear, and where there were glaciers, a desert appears. The man says that this is very cool. He knows so much about the ancient beast. Another man says the celebration is in 3 days, they shouldn't miss it. Sia turns to the window and says that he hopes that everything will be fine from now on. They will take part in the celebration and witness this spectacle. Sometime later at night, Lei Yun is sleeping in the bed, Sia is fast asleep having fallen out of bed, and Shenyi is sleeping in her bed. The wind blew and Shenyi woke up because of this. He got out of bed and walked towards the closet. He heard sounds coming from the closet and it bothered him. He opens the closet door and sees a spider with a scorpion there. He looks at it for a while and decides to grab the scorpion. Suddenly something large appears behind him and is about to attack him. Men knock on their door and ask why they don't let other people sleep. Could they please speak more quietly? Suddenly the wall breaks along with the door. They look inside and see Shenyi fighting a monster. The monster turns towards them and screams loudly. The men run away in fear and say that this monster came out of nowhere. Shenyi asks the monster if he got tired of hiding and decided to attack. Right. One of his arms has been transformed into a sword and he rushes forward to attack the monster. He strikes several times, but the monster blocks these attacks with his hands. Shenyi lands on one knee and the monster watches him intently. Sia and Lei Yun come to him and they ask what is going on here. Shenyi says that they should be careful because this monster is not so simple. At the same time, several hooded people stand at the huge gate and many corpses of guards lie on the floor. A mysterious man with long dark hair stands among all this and wipes the blood from his cheek. The guy asks the overlord what should they do next. The man says that they must take all the corpses to the department of the criminal organization. He will be contacted, after which he should not do anything. The guy asks why they kill the guards and not ordinary residents, so it will be easier to open them. The man asks if they killed them. It's obvious that that monster did it. This sacred beast that used to protect one side is dead and now Jilu City is facing changes. The men from the hotel have fled the building and continue to run down the street. One of them trips over a stone and falls to the ground. He asks the second one to help him. The guy turns around to look and at the same moment the building they were in collapses. They run away and say that they must hurry to the city to report to the organization. At the same time, the monster stands among the ruins in a large cloud of dust. Shenyi strikes with his hand and the attack wounds the monster. The liquid that poured out of the monster fell on his body and caught fire. He says that they should stay away because the monster's mucus is corrosive. Sia asks if he can handle it on his own. Shenyi says that he can easily deal with this monster. The monster is approaching him very quickly. He doesn't know if it was because of the spirit of the artifact or the effect after training. The monster's movements became very slow for him. She swings and he and the monster strike each other. He thinks his powers have increased significantly. He says he wants to test the fruits of his training on him. His hand changes and begins to emit lightning. He deals many blows to the monster's body. The monster holds back the blood that is about to burst out of its mouth. It falls onto its back with great force. Shenyi jumps on the monster's head. His hand emits a lot of lightning. He strikes and the monster spits out a lot of objects. It shrinks and continues to spit out objects. Lei Yun and Sia jump away from these objects. The slime that escaped from the monster contained weapons and various jewelry. All these objects smell unpleasant and they cover their faces with their hands. Shenyi looks at her in surprise and asks, "Was it Sophaman?" The creature spits out the last items and looks at him with joy. It jumps into the arms of the uncomprehending Shenyi. Sophaman cuddles up to him and makes contented sounds. Shenyi asks, "Isn't that the creature that just fought him?" Sia says that he heard that these creatures are not very smart and are somewhat similar to birds. They often perceive the person they see for the first time as a parent. Does this mean he is now a father? This news greatly surprised Shenyi. Sia says Sophaman may be rowdy sometimes, but he has communication skills and also looks cute. It would be cool to make him a magical pet. Shenyi says that he is already in a semi-demon state, and with a pet he will stand out even more. He can't take it with him. He puts Sophaman on the ground and says that they must go. Sia asks is he sure he doesn't want this. Maybe he'll just hide it. He turns around and looks at the crying creature. Sometime later in the day, Sia says that he still decided to pick it up. Shenyi remembers that yesterday he was touched by Sophaman's face and called him over. He says that by absorbing him into his body, he will be able to hide his aura for a while, but Mentor Tanya and the captain will quickly discover him. Sia asks he is not worried about his own punishment, but about his fate, right? Shenyi agrees and says that he must protect him at all costs. After some time, a crowd of people appeared in front of them. Sia happily says that they have arrived in Jilu. On the street people are putting on shows with animals and girls are dancing. They are surprised that there is so much life here. Everything here is very exotic. Sia says everything here is incredible. Maybe they'll go shopping. Shenyi grabs him by the shoulder and says that they can't. Sometime later, he shows the card and says that they are members of a criminal organization. They were ordered to deliver medicine from Yicheng. The man orders to inspect the goods they brought. The man standing next to him agrees. A couple of men went to check the contents of what they had brought. The man asks if they have any prohibited goods. Shenyi denies this. The man says that he must give him the mission card. The man reads the information on a piece of paper for a while. He says the number of people and identities have been confirmed. The man reports to the boss that there is a box that they cannot open. Shenny says that these are their personal materials, it has nothing to do with the mission. The man says that now is a special period of the upcoming holiday, they are obliged to check the contents. Sia asks if they can go to open area. This is not the right place to open this. The man refuses. Sia agrees and opens the box filled with jewelry. The man helps open the chest and asks why he is hesitating. They all see a lot of money and precious stones. Many people gathered near them and were surprised at what they saw. Among the crowd of people there is a little boy who is also watching. The boss says they can go. They need to move things to the station and their mission will be completed. Some time later, they ride on a cart and Shenny says that they should be careful. After all, they put their wealth on display, no one knows what might happen. A boy who is in the crowd runs out from around the corner of the house. He asks not to kill him. Several people run after him and the boy asks to save him. He trips over a stone and falls to the ground. The hooded man is about to stab this child with his sword. Shenny very quickly blocks the attack with his sword and prevents it from hurting the child. He pushes the attacking man away and asks who they are and why they attacked this child. The three men inspect it and notice Lei-yun holding her sword at the ready. The man throws a punch, which Shenny dodges. He tells this little freak that their mission is already over. Shenny lands holding the boy in his hand and wonders how they know they are on a mission. He is surrounded by these three men. The boy asks to save him and says that they need money. The man is about to attack them and says that he must shut up. Shenny reacts very quickly and strikes faster than this man. He lands a few more blows and defeats all attackers. He is surprised by what he sees right now. The men were wearing the same uniform as them and were not particularly affected by his attacks. The men look at him from under their hoods. One of them says that they should leave here. They all immediately run away from him. Shenny asks the boy who is he. Lei-yun asks why those people are chasing him. Sia reaches out to him and says that he is sorry that he received so many injuries. The boy pushes his hands away and loudly asks not to touch him. They shouldn't ask him if they don't want to die. The guy runs away between houses in an unknown direction. Sia asks if they should go after him. Lei-yun asks what should they do with the money. Is it possible to leave this here? Shenny says they should deliver supplies first. Those people in black are now wounded, so they are unlikely to go after him now. Sometime later, garrison of the criminal organization of the city of Jilu. The man says that with inventory, of course, quantity and quality coincide, their mission is accomplished. Shenny thanks him. A man's scream is heard from the open door. The guy is thrown to the ground and coughs up blood. A man stands over him and says that since he doesn't want it for the good, then it will be for the bad. He steps on the hand of a man lying on the ground and this causes him to scream in pain. The man says that he must answer his question. Where is the young master of his family? The man on the floor says that he killed the head of the city and most of his Adeli's family and monopolized power in the city. He also wants to destroy every single one of Adeli's. He will die a painful death. The man asks if he really decided to intimidate him. He calls the guards and several people from the organization approach him. The man says that they must take him away and find out the location of that boy. The guys grab this man and drag him somewhere. Zia says that the captain of Jilu City is a very cruel person. Shenny says that every captain has a different character and should be careful what he says. He is surprised by what he sees. He looks at the guy and notices the same badge on his belt. He leaves and says they should follow him. Sometime later, Lei-yun asks if that boy could be the young master the captain sent for. Sia asks if they help resolve this incident, won't it harm the organization? Shenny says that he shouldn't pretend to be innocent. They must help and capture those three. Sia says they are killing people and he won't let them touch a small child. There is something rustling in the bushes next to them and Shenny drew attention to it. He looks into the bushes and sees a black cat. Sia asks what is there. Shenny says that it was an ordinary cat. He turns around and walks away from the bushes. The boy who was hiding nearby calms down from the fact that he was not discovered. He turns around and is surprised that they are already looking at him. Shenny tells the boy that he should not run away from them. Sia says they have some questions for him. They take turns asking the boy who he is. Why is the captain following him? For what purpose is he hiding? The boy asks them to let him go. They hear people saying loudly that he must be here somewhere. He shouldn't have run far and they should search carefully. The boy starts to run away from them, but Shenny grabs him by the shoulder and asks him to wait. The boy asks to be released and says that he cannot allow them to capture him. Shenny says that won't do. The silhouettes of several people appear from behind the bushes. The boy frees himself from the grip and begins to run away. He stops in some place. A magic circle appears under his feet. They are surprised at what is happening. The ground under their feet becomes sticky and their feet go underground. Sia is about to say something before he gets completely sucked in. The man looks behind the bush where the sound came from, but there was nothing there. He turns around and says there's nothing here, so they should move on. Sometime later, Lei Yun, Shenyi and Sia fall into some room. Lanterns are lit around them, illuminating the room. They rise to their feet and look around the immaculately clean room. There are many paintings hanging on the walls with men similar to each other. Lei Yun asks where they are. Shenyi lifts the boy by his clothes and says that this is a formation outside the walls of the criminal organization. Where did he take them? Lei Yun notices something while looking at the painting and he asks what she found there. On the frame it says Adelise II and she reads it out loud with a questioning intonation. Sia comes to her and says that the name in this picture seems familiar to him. Shenyi is about to say something, but he is interrupted by a boy who says that it is his father, the former head of the city. His name is Adelise III, and he was supposed to take over the position of head of the city after the death of his father. His full name is Blair de Adelise. As the protectors of Jilu City, the Adelise family ruled the city and guarded it for many generations. They maintained this pride for 500 years. 3 months ago, monsters began to attack frequently, and the original garrison officer made a mistake during his decision, which led to many casualties among the members of the criminal organization. After which Chase was appointed the new officer of the garrison. His methods were cold-blooded and he quickly subdued the attacking monsters. In terms of strength he is a qualified officer, but in terms of dignity he is not. He ordered his father to give up the property of the Adelise family, openly declaring his desire to seize power in the city in order to lead a life filled with songs and immorality. Most importantly, he discovered their family's secret book, which describes a method to pacify the ancient beast. He blamed his father for the past rampage of monsters and killed him. Later, he decided to carry out a massacre of members of the Adelise family. He was saved by a good servant and escaped. They think that this means that they have guessed something after all. Blair says Chase is still following him, and at that moment they saved him from his people. He's about to go down the aisle. Shenyi blocks his passage and says that he still hasn't told them why he is here. Assuming Chase isn't here, right. Blair says he's going to save whoever is up there. Great Beast Jilu. Sometime later, the man says it's true. It may have been evening then, but they saw everything clearly. One of the men who was in the living room says that there were 2 terrifying monsters who fought each other. The second man says they don't even know where they came from. Chase sits on the throne and listens to them. He asks if there was anything special besides those 2 monsters. The man says that nothing special happened. That day, a small group of 3 people from Yicheng City moved in with them. Then noise began to come from their room. He decided to go up and find out what was happening there. It was a sudden attack by a monster. As they ran away, they turned around and noticed 2 fighting monsters. The guy from the organization shows the portraits and asks if it was them. The men say it was them. As expected from Mr. Chase, he calculated everything. The guy says that since he ordered portraits of everyone who recently entered the city in military uniform to be drawn, they were able to quickly find them. This is the only group from another city that arrived from that hotel 3 days ago. It was also revealed that on that day, when their group was chasing the second one, they saved him. Chase says that these 2 are vital to the survival of Jilu City. They have to grab them.